A black girl and a dumb blonde walk into a parody.
Today we're looking at 2026's Scary Movie.
I don't know why I struggled to
I
say.
don't know who I am.
My name's Rachel. I'm India Ysabel.
And I'm Rachel Barker, aka Girl on Film, and this is Who Dies First. Hello, India Ysabel.
Hello, Rachel Barker.
How are you?
I'm good. I met Steven Spielberg on Friday.
You did. I have been holding off asking you about this so that you get to relive the glory on pod.
Yeah.
But yeah, explain.
So I had no idea that I was about to be a part of a viral publicity stunt when I agreed to go to a pub quiz. So
it's always a good feeling realizing you've been used for somebody else's motive.
But honestly, like, the best possible motive and publicity stunt I ever could have been part of. So I'm like, yeah, please do use me. I'm happy for that. Like, that's awesome.
So you were at like a universal organised pub quiz.
Yeah.
And then
Literally at the Devonshire, which is one of the busiest pubs in all of London. It's right in Central. It's just off of Piccadilly Circus. Mm-hmm. There's like hundreds of people in the pub.
Yeah.
And so never in my wildest dreams would I have thought, yes, of course they'll bring Steven Spielberg to the pub quiz at the busiest pub in London. That would be, like, why would you do that?
He's being, like, ushered in with a bag on his head through the streets of London.
I don't know how they got him in there. Like it's beyond me. Like...
That is crazy. And Coleman Domingo.
Coleman Domingo I have actually met before.
Really?
So
I think I've seen a picture of you.
Yeah. I saw him in the bar at an Everyman cinema. I went up to him and I was like, hey. And then I just burst into tears. That's the only time I've ever done that other than when I was like 15 years old and I met Dan and Phil.
I also met Dan and Phil. Have we talked about this?
I don't think we have.
I met Dan and Phil when I was 20, which actually, I think that means we would have met them like the same year.
Yeah, probably.
Because I'm 5 years older than you. But I, living a much sadder existence, was still very excited as a 20-year-old to meet them.
Oh my God, they could pass me on the street tomorrow and I'd probably lose my mind.
Yeah, no, I would as well. But I was visiting LA because I was like flying from New Zealand to England, and it's one of the places that you can go through. And I was in the LACMA, I think, which is an art gallery, unaware that VidCon was on at the same time.
Oh my God.
So there were YouTubers.
It was crawling with YouTubers.
Yeah, swarmed the city. And I just turned the corner at the art gallery and I walked straight into Daniel and Philip. And I did that thing where you like, I was kind of like, hi, I'm Rachel. It's so nice to meet you. And they were so friendly, and they were like, how do they speak? They were like, hello. It's like Bert and Ernie.
Oh my God.
They are Bert and Ernie.
Yeah, they're the Bert and Ernie of YouTube.
I really want to nail an impression.
Oh my God.
They were like,
I'm having an existential crisis.
Yeah. Oh, hello, it's so nice to meet you. No, this is bad.
Crazy.
And I just kind of then didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So they followed it up and asked if I wanted a picture. I was just sort of silently nodding. And yeah, I have this horrible picture with them, like sweating in the LA heat, I looked bad at that age. Like, me as a 20-year-old, we were not feeling the fire.
It's kind of a rough time to be alive. I'm not gonna lie.
Just being
20s
20
is like hard. I think 20 to 23 is like rough.
Yeah, they were rough for me. They were rough.
I found 23 in particular, I was like, this is so cursed.
Yeah.
It felt so cursed to me.
It gets better.
It does get better.
I'm 31 and I'm probably the happiest I've ever been.
It's all about the frontal lobe development.
Yeah, and my frontal lobe is
huge.
It's
so big.
It's like throbbing.
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts to carry it around.
Hats don't fit me anymore.
Because of my weighty lobe. Yeah.
How are you?
Pretty special. I'm good.
I'm good.
I don't know. I was actually thinking about this earlier where I was like, what do I have to say at the moment? kind of nothing.
I think,
and that's okay.
No news is good news, as they say.
No goo is good goo.
No goo is good news. I've hardly slept this week, so if I can't talk for this whole thing, that is why.
This episode is going to be a little goo goo gaga as well, because we are talking today about the 6th Scary Movie film, and these are not plot heavy movies. It's a parody series, and we have decided we are still going to be walking through the beats at the of the plot.
Yeah.
But the focus of this episode is much less discussing like the what does it mean of it all. We're just gonna have a little yap. And I mean, this is one where unless you want to see the film, which I think is worth seeing. There might be some alternate opinions in the room, but you very much could listen to this and still have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you know what's going to happen when you sit down for a movie like this.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't know, there was nothing in there where I was like, oh, I'm very surprised at where the story has gone kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
We'll get into this, but it is rather like the first Scream movie. Not Scream movie, rather like the first Scary Movie. It is a direct parody of the first Scream movie. This film's overarching framing is Scream 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Mostly Scream 5. But let's just get into it. Are you ready?
Let's get into it.
All right. So, Scary Movie 6, it is written by Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, Keenan Ivory Wayans, Craig Wayans, and Rick Alvarez, who is not a Wayans.
Yeah, I was going to say, who's this Alvarez guy? Like, how did he get involved?
And it was directed by, I should have looked this up because I'm now realizing I don't know how to say it, Michael Tiddies?
Tides?
It might be.
Is it
Tiddes?
Oh.
I think it's Titties. Titties with a double D.
Sorry, we're 12 years old.
But this director, Mr. Titties, has been working... He has been working with Marlon Wayans and Rick Alvarez, like, his whole career making spoof movies effectively, but this is kind of his first big gig. The original film was written by Marlon and Sean Wayans, and their brother Keegan directed it. But this film has a kind of interesting production history.
Yes.
Because after the success of the first two films, they asked the Weinstein Company, boo,
thumbs down. Yeah, boo, tomato, tomato.
They asked them, and this is a good example actually of how the Weinstein Company just like sucked, even aside from Harvey Weinstein's personal life. They asked for more money because of the success of the first two films. They were then lowballed with an even lower
so crazy
offer than their like original agreement, and then they were just dropped from the project effectively for like being trouble, and the franchise was taken over by some other writers, and the absence of Wayans, I think, was felt by a lot of people who loved these films.
Yeah.
They're black, and a lot of the humor is very black.
It's very like kind of that African American humor that I think is so it's quite interesting how African American culture is so like specific and in its own kind of thing. Yeah. Because in the UK, I would say we don't necessarily have like a cohesive black culture because you will generally find that communities are like a Ghanaian community, a Jamaican community, etc. And so there's not necessarily like that universal language. Obviously not that African Americans are like a monolith in any way, but there seems to be much more of like in jokes and stuff that it seems like
a broader sense of unity.
Yeah. And that
for sure,
it definitely feeds into, I would say, that.
Do you know much about the Wayans family?
Isn't there like 10
there are literally
children? But they have kind of become this like powerhouse in the like creative industry of just I don't know, they all seem to be doing stuff.
Yeah, they've all done, like, screenwriting, acting, directing. Obviously, like, I think it's fair to say that Marlon and Sean are the most successful.
Yeah.
I only found this out today that their parents worked in a supermarket, and one of them was a social worker, and they had zero industry ties. The kids just started writing and making stuff and ended up becoming this Wayans empire.
That's crazy.
Isn't that amazing?
I always find stories like that so interesting when you actually like encounter the kind of fulfillment of the American dream.
Yeah.
Because I feel like those stories are actually so rare when you're like, no, we kind of just came from like, that is an average family.
Yeah.
And then they've achieved huge success, but also interesting how I think probably because they are Black, they still experienced what they did with Scary Movie 3 and 4, where they were dropped. I don't think if they were white that would have happened.
No, it probably wouldn't have done. I think, like, given what we know about the kind of person Harvey Weinstein is, he clearly didn't see them as valuable.
100%.
And it wouldn't be surprising if that value was linked to race.
1000%.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein sucks
On
for like
so many different levels.
Reasons. But there was also a fifth film, and that one didn't even have, like, Anna Faris and Regina Hall were gone, and they'd been in all of the films. It was just like random cast, new director. It came out in 2013, but like I wasn't aware of it coming out at the time.
Okay,
that was in my last year of high
interesting.
school, and it completely passed me by. And I think one of the reasons that these films fell so far out of fashion that nobody even cared that there was a new one is because there was a real wave of parody film fatigue. And it's linked not only to Scary Movie, because Scary Movie was one of the first big successful parody films, but because two of the guys who basically have writing credits on the first film, so there were 6 writers on the first film, technically.
Yeah.
2 of those writers didn't contribute anything to the final script, but they had a script that had also been bought by Dimension. And I guess that sort of ended up like entangling them in the final project, because that was another horror parody script.
Okay.
But then the Wayans wrote the script that actually got used. But then those 2 writers went on to claim that as the writers of Scary Movie, they then basically made all of these other films, like Date Movie, Disaster Movie, Epic Movie. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
And I know you're not a fan of Scary Movie either, but those ones are absolute rubbish.
Yeah, they are so bad. Because I've also seen, again, I think like Epic Movie and stuff, I have seen parts of that and I've just been like, I cannot watch this. I also feel like I don't know when those came out, but there was a period.
I think around 2009, because I remember renting one from Blockbuster.
Classic.
And me watching it as a child and being, well, not a child, I was 13, but me watching it as a 13-year-old and being like, this is disgusting. I'm too young for this. Because they're just like full on like goofy, gross out movies.
Yeah. I really don't like that stuff. But I think it's interesting that Scary Movie 5 was released in like 2013. That was around the period where like Shane Dawson and that like era of YouTube was like going crazy. And I don't know, even at the time, that like Shane Dawson stuff and what was he called? Like Bart something.
Bart Bass.
No, Bart Baker.
Bart Baker.
Bart Bass. Who's that? I even then I couldn't stand that like parody stuff. I found it so just like it was too much for me.
Well, neither could I at the time. Like I've had such a weird turnaround with these movies because I've always hated goofy humor. I was a child and I remember moving to New Zealand. Everybody was obsessed with SpongeBob. being forced to sort of watch a lot of SpongeBob in social situations. And again, at an even younger point in my life where I sounded even more British because we'd more like freshly moved, me being like, this is so immature. None of this is funny.
Wait, you didn't even like SpongeBob?
No!
Wow.
I hated, like, I remember, like, Ed, and Eddie, Cat Dog, like, all of the children's cartoons. I thought they were all, like, I just thought they were really classless.
It's so tasteless.
So tasteless. And I felt the same about, anything that I would put under the label of goofy.
Yeah.
That was an impression of Goofy from, what's Goofy from?
Like Mickey Mouse.
The Mickey Mouse house, yeah. Anything
Please
that
don't
was
cut that out.
anything that was goofy was just not for me. But then this year I had a weird urge to rewatch all of the Scary Movie movies, and I had an absolute blast. And suddenly I was like, this is funny.
Wow.
Like, I've changed.
I'm a different person now.
But anyway, final note on the production. With Harvey Weinstein out of the way, we'll just put it like that.
Out of the picture.
The Wayans brothers were thankfully brought back in to direct this film, which they referred to as a rebootiquel. Or maybe a rebootiquel.
A rebootiquel. The reboot sequel.
Yes,
rebootiquel.
a rebootiquel. So, let the breakdown of the rebootiquel begin. So this is going to be a pretty plot-light summary, as I mentioned before. Yeah. The film revisits the premise of the first one. It picks up with the OG cast, with Cindy, played by Anna Faris, Brenda, played by Regina Hall, and then Shorty and Ray. So Shorty is Brenda's brother, and Ray is Brenda's wife. Oh my God. Well, actually, okay, he's not, but he's gay, which is like a huge bit throughout like the entire film and all of the first films. Not that being a gay man makes you a wife. I'm so sorry. But this is a parody of Scream 5 and 6.
Yes.
Ghostface has returned, and it is killing those characters, like children and nieces and nephews and stuff. Great to see the original cast back. I felt like they all still had the magic.
I mean, I love Anna Faris.
Yeah.
So I only actually watched the full Scary Movie for the first time last night. I had never gotten through it before that. But even though I'd never seen it, I just have this real fondness of Anna Faris as a person.
You seen The House Bunny?
Yes, when I was like quite young though.
Actually,
so
that would have
came
out when you were like 9.
Yeah, I don't have much of a recollection of it, but I watched it in my like kind of early teen years. So I feel very fond of her. So I'm like, she's still got. I think Regina Hall's really funny.
She's magic. They're all just so willing to do anything.
They commit
on
to the
camera.
bit.
So committed to the bit, and it was quite delightful seeing them now, a good 20 years older, still having so much fun.
Yeah.
And not feeling like they're at a place in their careers where, because they were all like pretty much unknown. I think this was Anna Faris's, like the original Scary Movie was Anna Faris's first film.
It was, yeah.
It's just nice that they don't think they're above a
Yeah.
film like this anymore. The opening scene of the film has an actress who I was gagged to see in this movie.
Yeah.
So this is a direct parody of the opening of Scream 6 with Samara Weaving, but instead of Samara Weaving,
You have Teyana Taylor.
actually, even from the back of her head,
Yeah,
I was like,
oh my God, there she is.
Yeah.
I was like, it's her.
But I was having that like, no way thing. I was like, surely not. And then she was there in a beautiful yellow dress.
With her, like the way the dress kind of drapes over her, you can literally just see her abs.
Yeah.
It's just, she's like,
The creation of her body is unreal.
Yeah.
I think even though, again, I liked this movie, the opening scene probably is the best scene of the film.
It's the best bit. Because, okay, scary movie is not my sense of humour. But when this film opened this way, I was like, wait, maybe I'm going to really like this. I thought, like, 'cause I was giggling so much. I think Teyana Taylor is hysterical. She's got brilliant comedic timing and stuff.
Yes,
and I was
and
like,
the jokes were
okay.
funny.
Yeah, I felt like it was really sharp. I really enjoyed the references, And so I was like, okay, this is super strong. Maybe I am going to like this movie after all. But then I felt like after this, it maybe, yeah.
This opening scene kind of felt more like a Key and Peele sketch.
Yeah.
Like it still had that absurdist humor, but it's probably fair to say it was less silly.
Yeah.
We then get a second opening.
Yes.
Where we meet Tuesday. Who is Wednesday.
A parody of Wednesday Addams.
Yes, a parody of Wednesday Addams because Jenna Ortega played a character in Scream 5. Scream 5?
Scream 5, you know the one.
I love that movie. But she is attacked by Ghostface, and then we get our like actual title card / scary movie. The next scene is an introduction to Cindy's other daughter, Sarah. She's with her boyfriend Jack. They work at a theme park. She's being like, I need to like go back home to protect my sister or like protect my family. And in the background,
it's the like Final Destination roller coaster thing. Well, there's various kind of theme park rides that are falling apart.
all malfunctioning.
But then we also we get a nod to Final Destination Bloodlines.
Yes.
With
the penny boy.
The penny boy. The evil little penny boy. Ugh, honestly.
As much as I enjoy, I remember when we saw this in the cinema, the penny boy kind of appearing and being like, but I think it is fair to say a lot of the joy in watching this purely comes down to recognition of the properties.
Oh,
like,
100%.
My brain was just going, Final Destination's Bloodlines, Final Destination Bloodlines. And I was like, I'm so smart. Everything is funny because I recognize this boy. But like, it's not really, and I think this is why you didn't like it as much, because like, it's not actually that funny. It's just like we're doing a thing you've seen in another movie.
But I guess it's kind of interesting that you say that, because a huge part of like stand-up comedy is actually just doing a callback to a joke that you made earlier in your set.
Is.
And it's only funny because you heard it earlier in the set. And otherwise it wouldn't be funny at all. So I guess that's basically just the method that they're using.
Yeah, they are.
A callback, but just to a different film that they know that you've already seen.
Yes, and the callbacks are as one-dimensional as just sort of being like, we're literally just doing the thing they did in the other film.
Yeah, but just making it look slightly sillier than it did before.
In what I believe is another nod to Bloodlines and also possibly Halloween, we go to Cindy's like highly protected house.
Yeah, that's definitely the mum in Bloodlines, right?
Yeah, but then also in Halloween, because I think she has the crazy Jamie Lee hair, the kind of like big white floofy hair. So I think they've combined those, and there's a little bit about how the mailman like can't deliver mail to the property because he keeps getting like caught in the traps, and they're like, it's good. We were laughing. Were you still laughing at this point?
No,
you were already over it?
I was already over it at this point. But I think it's kind of funny. It's in the moment I didn't find it funny, but I actually think the description of it is funnier than seeing the actual thing.
Yeah.
Because in the moment I was like, okay. But just the thought of the mailman not being able to is like, that's a funny bit, but for me the execution is not. I don't feel like the comedic timing was there for me.
We also talked about kind of in watching a film like this that is just end-to-end jokes, there's just a point where you get bored of watching end-to-end jokes, and maybe you would have found it funny
if it was like an SNL, like a episodes of sketches and rather than just like 90 minutes
but if you
to back
just seen a 4-minute segment
Yeah.
of visiting Cindy's house, maybe you would have found it funny.
Yeah.
But it can just be a bit too much. And I think people are we're a pretty perfect example of how people are going to go two ways with this film.
100%.
You're either going to not buy into it, in which the experience of watching is going to be awful.
Quite painful.
Or I just smiled the whole time.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was fun watching you watch it and hearing you like just go
I do have a very distinctive laugh. It does gain a bit of attention in the cinema. So there's a running through line established in this film between Sarah and Cindy, that they have like tension as mother and daughter because she was like a bad mom and because she makes like everything about her, and the daughter just wants to kind of feel like something is about her for once. We get a flashback with the Terrifier clown dressed as Santa, like in the third Terrifier film, in the mall, and it's supposed to be like Cindy as a mum sending Sarah off to go sit on his lap. Would you like to describe?
I actually despise this. They give the child like a ball sack, which I really don't like anything that involves anything that is like sexual and
with
children.
a child.
It really doesn't. It's one of those things that just rubs me up the wrong way.
I agree. I not even for like particularly, like I have a pretty grim sense of humor, but something about just like a testicle prosthetic is just not something I want to see.
No.
I didn't really like there was no joke. It was just a child is holding a pair of testicles.
Yeah.
Which was a little weird. But
no, yeah, I didn't appreciate that.
A bit that I did think was very successful was the next scene, which is Ray walking up to a church just as Miles Catton does in the beginning of Sinners.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes into this church, and the dad is also kind of doing the bit of being like, son, like you've made it, you're here. And he's telling him, where in Sinners he's telling him to like let go of the guitar. Here he is telling him to let go of being gay.
Yeah.
But it is funny.
See, I wrote in my notes, I wrote down what the scene was. I put an arrow and I wrote not funny. I was like, no, I can't.
There was one bit that really got the crowd going in the screening we saw. There was like a prolonged kind of cum joke.
Yeah, he's doing like a speech that's like,
take my hand and let's come together.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to laugh at a joke of that nature.
I understand why people find it funny, and I wanna like say that I do understand why people find this funny.
I like joy.
I know, like I do like joy. It's just my humor is like the thick of it and Peep Show and like I don't know, just
this couldn't be less British.
Yeah, that's it. It's so some American humor I just don't understand. I like Meet the Parents and Meet the Fockers and like I like some American comedy stuff, but I would say the majority of my sense of humor is very, very British.
Yeah, same. But for some reason,
this hits.
I said this to you before. I think I just have a real soft spot for the Wayans brothers. I just like want them to be happy.
You've got a lot of time for them.
Yeah, I want that movie to do well. I'm like, those are my boys. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess to like a certain extent, I want this to do well purely just because I want success for like black writers and directors.
100%.
Because ultimately studios don't want to make more black movies and stuff unless the previous black movie that they've just released does well.
You have to be the best in the flipping business to get any kind of second deal.
Yeah, like so much rides on these releases. So
whereas if you are, hate to say it, if you're a white man and you make a mediocre film the offers for your second mediocre film are just gonna roll in.
Yeah.
You get to, I say this all the time about like male and female directors. You will see if you go to someone's Wikipedia page how many male directors there are who, despite never having made a particularly well received film, have still made like 15 films.
Yeah.
And then you'll look at a female director's filmography and they might have made like one really good film, first film, and if the second film doesn't perform well, they never make a film again because they just like can't seal that deal. They can't get anyone to invest in them or invest in their visions because so much of this industry is a boys' club. And then I think, yeah, it is also important to recognize that so much of this industry is like a white club.
It's 100%. So mainly a white boys' club.
Yeah. So we are hoping Scary Movie like is beloved.
Yeah. I would like to see it do well, even if it's just in sheer box office numbers. I think it doesn't matter that I don't like it or if like critics don't like it. I think I want to see it make its money back and more.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of the future of other black filmmakers.
Yeah. Do you know that video of Monique on a talk show and she goes, "I would like to see it."
No.
Cool. Moving on. Brenda, or do we want to pause?
No. I was just checking.
Brenda is then introduced back into this film. She has the little Ma haircut.
Yeah.
And I actually think the choice to have her play this Ma character worked well because Ma in the actual film Ma is like inviting teenagers to come and hang out with her. And not only did they get a few kind of funny little like gags and bits, but it also gave reason in this film to have the teenage characters like spending time with the adult characters. And in general, I felt like there was a good cohesion between the various films they were parodying. Nothing felt, maybe apart from that Terrifier sequence, nothing felt like it was just thrown in illogically.
Yeah.
Like the way they wrapped together Sinners and Scream and Weapons and all these and Ma and all these various films, like made a film that still made sense.
Yeah, definitely.
We then move to Tuesday in the hospital. This is the same scene as a scene from Scream 5 where they're trying to escape the killer. But the notable thing here, I really enjoyed this bit because I've Crohn's disease. I spend a lot of time in a hospital. There is a nurse in this sequence called Nurse Ratchet.
Yeah.
Which is...
with a T on the end, not a D.
Yes, with a little double play on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and the word Ratchet. She's like, "I'm on my break. Yeah. I am not having you." And that is so real. So many nurses in hospital, you can be like coughing up blood and guts and they'll be like, "Stop ringing your bell. Can't you see I'm busy?" I've literally had that in a hospital. So this bit was making me laugh. Laughing the pain away.
I have not thankfully experienced that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's obviously not fun when it happens in real life.
No.
But I think it's a good time here to talk about the kind of goodwill we have with the comedy in this movie because it has black creators. If that character Nurse Ratchet was in another film made by white people,
that was a Shane Dawson character.
It kind of feels like a Shane Dawson
which it probably would be. I wouldn't be surprised if
she has like silver eyeshadow.
Yeah,
really
the long nails.
Yeah, really long nails, like kohl pencil eyebrows, like colourful weave. They've really amped up the stereotype that would unquestionably be considered extremely offensive.
Yeah.
But I think here the Waynes, they kind of let you laugh and feel good about laughing at this stuff because like it's they poke fun at everyone and it very much is a sense of like we're letting you be in on the joke.
Yeah.
We as someone who is white,
What?
I know, white reveal.
Rachel, no, please.
But as someone who is of the Caucasian persuasion, like you know where their limits are as black comedians, because they are the ones making the film. You know the boundaries, you know what is okay to laugh at, and they give you permission to do so. I think this also, though, is why some of the other jokes, particularly jokes about like gay and trans people, receive a slightly more awkward response. Yeah. Because it's not like this black screenwriter has written in a joke about being black, and then we, the audience, are like, well, he said it. Yeah. It's like this man, this like straight man has written a joke about a gay man being like weird and predatory. Yeah. And we're all kind of like, but I think that is the nature of these movies. And
yeah. And I guess they are like they're equal opportunities jokers. Like no one's safe. Yeah.
Although actually probably maybe the one that does feel a bit like, oh really, oh no. In the next scene, Sarah and her boyfriend Jack go to Officer Doofy's house, and Doofy is the parallel of Dewey from Scream, but he is a mentally disabled
I really hated
this. Is not good.
I really did not enjoy this at all. I felt so deeply uncomfortable whenever he was on screen.
Yeah, although there was one really funny bit in this where he was describing like kind of being like, oh, just look at your boyfriend. Doesn't he look like a killer with his drooling mouth and his scruffy hair and blah, blah, blah. And then you realize he's looking in a mirror and he's like, oh, wait, that's me.
And,
very reflective about in-theatre experiences.
I don't even have a recollection of that
Do you
happening.
not?
No.
That mirror bit got me good. That got me good. Also something here is the boyfriend character, Jack. He's called Jack because...
Of Jack Quaid, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who plays the same character in season 5.
Season 5.
Oh my gosh. It's because I've written S5 in all my notes, and in my brain,
you're like season 5.
You know, it's like EO1, S11 or whatever.
Scream 5.
But same plot as Scream 5, which you kind of have to spoil because they do a lot of jokes that only work on the basis that we already know what this story is. So to spoil Scream 5... Jack Quaid's character is one of the killers. Yeah. And then, like, in this scene and a bunch of other scenes in this movie, you kind of get lots of jokes about, like, how obvious it is that he's the killer. And I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's definitely, again, it's just kind of point and say humour.
Yeah. It's basically going... Well, yeah, I mean, obviously this happens. Yeah. Of course.
This happened in the movie you already saw.
Yeah, you know this one. You know this bit.
Yeah, you know this one. After this, we get more Scream 5 stuff where we meet kind of the rest of the young cast. I was really impressed by how much everybody looked like the characters they were...
like referencing.
Like paralleling.
Yeah.
But also that they all had so much charisma. To get people who looked right and felt good in their own right really impressed me.
Charisma, uniqueness, nerve and talent coming through in Scary Movie 6.
One of these characters is one of these charisma, uniqueness, nervous and talented characters.
Nervous and talented. You were like nervous and talented. That's me.
A charismatic, unique, nervous, and talented character is Jess, who is a trans boy who is son of the police chief. I don't think the audience really knew, in relation to what I was just saying, I don't think the audience really knew how to...
like, respond
Yeah.
to this. And I think it's hard as well, because I think if you don't have the context of Marlon Wayans having a trans son who he's been very vocal about being supportive of and kind of going on this journey as a parent and like learning to accept that and stuff, and also how this character and his relationship with his dad is basically like a direct reflection of the journey that Marlon and his son went on. It probably was just like, ooh, in 2026 we're doing this.
Yeah, right. It feels like it's just being like, ooh, like trans people are weird. Let's point that out. But it as you say, it's not. Like,
yeah.
Marlon, there was a quote I read. Sorry, I just burped into the microphone. Foul. There was a quote that I read. Marlon Wayans was on the Jennifer Hudson show, and he talked about his relationship with his son and said, I went through the 5 stages of grief to get to the beautiful, magical place called acceptance. When I read that, I genuinely was like, it made me teary.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's one thing to have parents who are immediately understanding and accepting, and like obviously that's everyone's ideal, that's everyone's dream, but I think there is something really amazing about a dad being able to articulate that he struggled and didn't necessarily think that his like child's journey was okay, but then realizing that actually just accepting them for who they were was like the best outcome, and that nothing bad came from that, and if anything, like only good came from that. I just
I think it also is just like a very positive thing to have out there in media. I think especially coming from like a father perspective as well, I think is important. I think there's a fair amount of like women that come out and say they're very supportive of like 100%. Their queer children, but I think often for whatever reason it can be harder for fathers to kind of talk about it in that way.
It's beautiful to hear, and it does make the stuff in the movie less weird. They also, playing Jess is an actor called Benny, I think Zielk or Zelk.
Yeah,
Benny Zelk. Zielke, and they are trans non-binary.
Yes.
So again, they like gave the role to a trans actor. They are like actively supporting a trans person.
And they are also, I think they're like a writer in general, kind of like creative within the film industry as well. Cool. So I haven't been able to find anything on this, but I do wonder if maybe they would have fed into the role a little bit
I certainly doubt they would have taken the role
if they
felt like the content was inappropriate. Just to follow that up, Jess is then murdered. Jess is then killed by Ghostface, as is the father character. We get another bit with Officer Doofy. One thing I did think was slightly funny, his like body camera was just like a child's like play camera.
Yeah.
It's just a nice little costuming touch. We're reintroduced to Gale Hailstorm, who is Gale Weathers from Scream. And there's a joke here about how she no longer exchanges like sexual favors for information since Me Too.
Yeah.
And that also earlier there was a joke about like Doofy being at the January 6th riots, and it definitely does, not in a bad way. I was gonna say ages these films, but that's not what I mean. Like they are really drawing from current
like current affairs,
Current affairs,
culture
there we go,
and
yeah.
discussions.
I was like, January 6th riots are not really pop culture, but I could not think of
I guess
the
in
other
a
word.
weird way, though, certain political events do become
Yeah.
almost like pop culture events.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, the amount of jokes, I would say, I mean, that they do literally
Yeah.
make a joke about Dewey being, like, the kind of QAnon shaman.
Yeah.
Like, I would say the QAnon shaman has almost become a like pop culture
Yeah.
thing in itself, because the image is so like
Yes.
we've all seen it.
Been
We all-
memed.
It's just it is I think
Yeah.
and everyone knows what you mean when you say January 6th. Like,
Oh, yeah.
so the next bit is a Get Out parody. Ghostface is sat in the chair, and then who is it? Is it Shorty?
Yeah, it's Shorty.
Shorty is in the chair, and he goes into the sunken place, and he falls into like an animated K-pop Demon Hunters parody of, is the song Golden? Or no?
I don't know. I don't know K-pop Demon
We've not
Hunters.
seen it. Neither of us have seen
at
K-pop Demon
all.
Hunters.
We get it. Something I liked about when he was going into the sunken place is they did that kind of. It's often done with like a rag doll prop. He had his little like body fold where he gets like sucked into the back of the chair. It was just a nice little silly moment. But yeah, I have unfortunately nothing to say about K-pop Demon Hunters.
But it made me think, I was like, when did K-pop Demon Hunters like actually come out? Because that feels...
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because we've like basically kind of just had the Oscars and stuff. It's just been award season, and so K-pop Demon Hunters has really been in
Back
the
in
culture
there, yeah.
and everyone's been talking about it, and that song has literally been everywhere. But I'm like, did that... Because it's an animated sequence. So I'm like, when did that come out?
Yeah, that takes time. That takes time to make.
That takes
I also
time.
was thinking this at a few points of the film where I was like, damn, they really got some recent... Given that, like, we know films take time to make, especially when
Yeah.
you're making them with, like, big studios.
And like the amount of post-production work that has to happen
Yeah.
is like crazy. Editing a movie takes ages.
There were some very recent references. Even Sinners, like, think
Sinners,
about that long ago.
Weapons.
I feel like they must have gone from writing to production in a really short space of time.
Yeah. And I wonder if at any points when they were like doing pickups or anything, they were like, well,
Or just add
we
some other
could just
shit.
like weave this in.
Yeah, well, you can, because like, this kind of next sequence of the film, we're honestly not even going to really bother to try and explain
No,
the
'cause
plot.
it gets
It does just become kind of sketch after sketch.
Yeah.
And the next one is
It Follows. It's interesting because they mention It Follows slightly earlier on in the film at one point,
Yes.
and they're like, oh, well, they basically say like, we thought about parodying It Follows, but so has anyone even seen that? Like, it's too
Oh,
it's too niche.
yeah.
Like, they basically say it's like too niche of a film, which I thought was so funny because in my head, It Follows is not a niche
neither.
movie. I feel like it's quite popular, but maybe I have a warped worldview because so many of my friends are like into film and stuff.
Yes, I think
and
we
so-
probably have an extremely warped. But I mean, as will anybody listening to this.
Yeah, so true.
We are the warped.
Yeah, we're catering to the warps.
Yeah. And we will be going on a warped tour, little 2000s reference.
There's the warped leading the warped.
But so this It Follows bit is that I don't even remember which characters.
I don't remember.
We're at the point in the podcast that we're sort of, I think, mentally about to like lose it. There's still a lot of film left, but we do not necessarily have like a lot to say left.
It does, like, because it literally gets to a point where you're just like, okay, we're just doing bits now.
Yeah.
Like, and this doesn't really mean anything. You're not saying much
Yes.
with the bits.
And our thoughts, I think, are gonna kind of be prioritized. God, can I speak today? Prioritized over plot as we go forward. So, two characters, don't know which ones, are having sex in a car, and the woman squirts, a word I believe we're allowed to say on YouTube.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Imagine if you couldn't say the word squirt.
Yeah, because then what are you supposed to say if it's like, oh, I don't know.
I have a water gun.
Yeah, I squirted water out of the little water
Yeah.
gun.
Or like, oh, last night I squirted all over the floor. What if I want to say that, which is like so fine to say?
It's so fine.
But,
This scene, however, is not fine. I did not enjoy this.
Okay, but I have a reason that I did enjoy this because, as you know, because you watched it last night,
Yes.
there was a scene in the first film between Cindy and Bobby where they have sex.
Wow.
And he blasts a hot load for like a minute. And it's like a sort of major set gag where there's like all of this liquid.
She gets like stuck to the ceiling.
Yeah, she gets stuck to the ceiling. And I felt like this was a sort of feminist update to that, where rather than have a woman get like splattergunned,
Yeah.
it was a man
Getting like washed away.
Yeah, getting washed away. It was definitely a reference to the first film.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And I kind of appreciated it. I was like, you know.
The Wayans do feminism.
Yes.
2026.
The Wayans, my favourite feminists. The next bit
It's worthy of note.
There was actually, this is worthy of note.
Ooh.
Speaking of Bobby, there's a moment where we get like Smile, the first Smile film, like in the hospital, and John, I don't know if it's pronounced John Abrams or Abrahams. I feel like Americans pronounce things.
I feel like, yeah, Americans say
because they
Abrams,
say
don't them?
Graham. You know, graham
don't-
cracker is spelled Graham cracker.
No, it took me so long to figure that out. I had to go to the US and see them and be like, no.
See the Americans.
See.
I had to confront the Americans on their pronunciation of Graham.
I had to see the Americans in person to know that they were 100% real. They don't just exist in movies. No way. I was at like a conservatory in Chicago, and they were handing out Graham crackers. Graham crackers.
You were handing out Graham.
They were, yeah.
There was a lovely man called Graham.
And you could take him home.
Pass around party Graham.
They were handing out, and I don't know, they were meant for children, but obviously I took some.
Yes.
I'm such a sucker for free stuff.
Being an adult is just being a child, but older.
Exactly. So I took them and I looked at them and I was like, Graham crackers. Graham cracker? And I just had this like moment of, hold the phone. I've been thinking they are like Gram. Like GRAM crackers.
It also blew my mind. It also blew my mind.
But also they say loads of stuff wrong. Like how Craig
not
is
wrong,
Craig.
Not wrong.
Sorry.
We all say things differently.
We all say things differently.
It's like so PC. Everybody's pronunciation choices are important. But John Abrams.
Yes. It's how you feel about how the word is said.
Yeah, right?
That's what matters.
Very passion. John Abrams is back in this movie for a brief scene. When he showed up, I was like, because he's so funny. I think he's such a funny actor. And I was like, why was he not in this film more? But then I remembered he dies in the first Scary Movie. And in this scene, he's actually only... Cindy is like seeing him. He's not actually there. But do you remember there's a scene in the first film where they're doing the I Know What You Did Last Summer flashback. They're driving in the car and Bobby is trying to get Cindy to enjoy his member for the first time.
Horrible. Yes, I do remember
And he has
that.
this hilarious...
I do remember that.
He has this hilarious line delivery where he goes, I just want you to touch it. Just touch it. Come on. And I love the way he says that so much. It's more chill than that. It's like, touch it. Come on.
Just touch it. Touch it.
Oh, to hear him say those words again.
I feel like I sounded... I'm actually not going to say that.
I'm not going to cut that out, so everyone has to listen to the like mystery of wondering what you were going to say. Okay, the next bit is another throwback to the first film. It's Shorty and a bunch of his boys. Ghostface comes in and gets high with them. But this time, they're not just watching TV in a lounge. They're streaming.
Oh. Kai Cenat shows up.
I don't know who that is.
Oh my god. So he is like one of the biggest streamers like in the world.
One of the biggest squirters.
Please. It's been a long week. I've had a very fucking long day.
Oh, God.
He's basically one of the biggest like live streamers in the world. But he is kind of just like known as a public nuisance.
Oh, really?
Just, like, general just nuisance to society. Like he's had, I feel
Is
like
he
he's
a prank person? Because that's what. Well, actually, it's not really a prank. In this sequence, I thought maybe this was supposed to be showing the sort of like extremity of the online attention economy.
So yeah, I would say he's very much part of like the kind of pioneering of that like live stream
Do the
silliness
craziest
that just
thing.
do the like silliest craziest thing. Although, because I then Googled him after this because I was like, am I having the correct memory of like who he is and stuff? Because I don't watch him, but I'm just aware of him through like osmosis on the internet.
Keen to establish,
like,
not to follow
Do
up.
not watch that. But he is like credited with the popularization of the word Riz,
No way.
which I thought was crazy.
That's pretty sick to have like on your CV.
Yeah. And I actually didn't realize how much of like kind of Gen Z slang and lingo and stuff is actually from like kind of streamers and
Yes.
stuff.
This is
like
so off topic, but I've been having this conversation with some of my friends recently about how, you know, a lot of the sort of language of the last 5 years, which people have been referring to as like TikTok language or Gen Z language, but actually a lot of it comes from queer culture, and then a lot of that in turn comes from Black culture. It's all the like Harlem ballroom stuff, which basically is just how like Black families talked to each other in the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. I think, and I think it's already starting to happen, the kind of next stage of our language, the place, or of like young people's language, the place we're going to pull it from is like internet men. It's no longer internet queer people, and I think it's all connected to the sort of like general rise of conservatism in culture.
Yeah.
Mogging, looks maxing,
Yeah.
like all of this stuff. We're already kind of starting to do it. We're taking it from like straight men now. They're becoming the dominant resource for language and culture.
And they do all live stream.
And they all live stream. Yes, that was the connection to this, is that like it is, I think there is loads of language from those kind of streamers that it's sort of taken the place of everyone saying like, yeah, slay queen, hunty boots.
Yeah.
Now
Everyone adds like maxing onto words and stuff.
I've been Riz maxing on my I actually don't know enough to even do a bit.
I hate how much of the like looks maxing language is just in my head.
Yeah.
And it, like
say my friend group says maxing and mogging a lot.
yeah, I love to use maxing, mogging, ascending. Ascending
This
is like
new for me.
Okay, so ascending is when right now for like a little lesson on incels. So when you are looks maxing and you basically kind of reach a certain point where you are like reach probably what is your peak kind of physical attractiveness level, you can then like ascend, and that means
Out
you're
of
like
inceldom and into chaddom.
yeah, and you're into chaddom.
I love incel. Actually, shout out to myself. I recently did a YouTube video about like incel ideology emerging in horror, and I say in that video as well, I've been obsessed with incels, like before they kind of were what they are now in culture. I've been obsessed with them for so long. It's such a fascinating
fascinate
mentality.
me so much. Me and my friends, this is really bad. Me and my friends used to spend loads of time like just scouring incel forums and stuff, just because we were like trying to make sense of it all, and we were just like, what are these people doing?
I was doing that like 11 years ago. Like I was in on the ground floor.
Boots on the ground.
Anyway, back to our favourite film. This episode is weirdly making me like tire of this movie.
See? Now you're experiencing what I experienced.
I feel like when this episode began, it's like you were back on the joy train and you were like, there are things that are funny. But now we're both like falling off the joy train.
We're off the joy train.
But there's a long legs sequence where we get the actor who was in, I think he appears only in the second Scary Movie film, who's the guy who does the like, that's my weak hand, take my strong hand bit. Does that mean anything to you?
Is that in Scary Movie 2?
It's in Scary Movie 2.
Okay, I did not reach Scary Movie 2.
But it was one of the big jokes from that movie, and he appears again, and then we cut to two cops, and they're like, oh, arrest that man, but then the cops run at the black man standing next to this long legs parody character. Yeah. And again, it was a little bit searing, like some of these lines I'm sure plenty of people would not find funny, where the cop says like, oh, just arrest him anyway, like he looks like he's done like something wrong.
We'll find something.
Yeah, because like, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that's like inappropriate to joke about, because it's not my place to say, but it is like another moment where people were like, oh, because it is just calling direct attention to police brutality against black people, and then the cop says, turn off your body cam.
Yeah.
It's dark. Just checking in here. Unfortunately, we have had a major audio issue that means that the next 15 to 20 minutes will sound slightly less good, but then we will be back with good audio. So hang tight.
So those are actually the moments in the movie that I actually find to be most interesting and kind of like compelling. Yeah. Because I believe that comedy is a really great medium for discussing politics and difficult issues and stuff, because it's kind of this universal language where we can all kind of like laugh together about something, but actually also learn something. Yes. Which is why I really love shows like The Thick of It, because they're saying something and like taking the mickey out of something that's very real and is like affecting lots of people. It's a political show, by the way. It's basically about like a spin doctor, if you haven't seen it.
And even just like acknowledgement. Yeah. Like there can't be action against something until there's been acknowledgement of the issue in the first place. So acknowledging this stuff more in like popular media, it does have value. But we must move on.
Anyway.
Next little bit is a scene from The Substance. Gail gets injected with the stuff. And when we see her back split open, expecting the younger version of her to crawl out, the first thing that comes out of her back is the Epstein files.
Yeah.
Which, like, didn't really, even though we were just saying it's like the whole kind of acknowledgement and attention is important and whatever, this achieved like nothing other than just being like, they exist.
I didn't get it. I was like, is it that she like knows more than she's letting on, or like, I couldn't quite piece together.
I think they just wanted a place. This was like one of the few moments where the place they decided to insert a joke didn't actually make sense.
No.
But the person who crawls out of her back goes up to the mirror, and the mirror's all misty, and we're like, ooh, who is that? And then they give it a little wipe, and it is one of the girls who's
White Chicks.
Yeah, White Chicks, who of course is not a girl, but is one of the Wayans brothers in Whiteface.
Yeah.
And that got a huge reaction.
Yeah.
She was like, oops, wrong movie.
I mean, it's such, I guess, like, White Chicks is such a kind of a cult favourite, isn't it? People really, really love White Chicks.
Again, I hated that movie so much when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I found myself, like, quoting it so much throughout my life. These boys have had... That sounds so, like, what's the word? Patronising to call boys. This family has had such cultural impact.
I read somewhere that they had like they've had influence on how the Super Bowl like halftime stuff. I like works. I didn't really read. I didn't read more into that.
They invented the Super Bowl.
They look. Let me spread some misinformation right now. The Wayans brothers started the Super Bowl. They came up with that idea.
Yeah, they came up with football.
They came up with American football that did not exist prior to the Wayans brothers.
Ray, there's another gay joke, but I did think it was kind of funny where someone asks him if he's dressed as one of the people from the YMCA, and he's like, "No, I'm dressed as Brokeback Mountain," and then he does the little monologue where he's like, "We could have had a good life together." You familiar?
I've watched Brokeback Mountain.
This has got to be the most like anecdotal episode that we have filmed, but I have to say, I watched Brokeback Mountain when I was 11 at a sleepover because the girls...
Sleepover?
It was a birthday and the girl's dad just like went to the video shop, just grabbed 2 movies for a group of 11-year-old girls, and he got Donnie Darko and Brokeback Mountain. So that was a heavy sleepover.
What?
And that's the only time I've ever seen that movie.
Why did you like this?
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yeah, pretty cool place.
Wow.
I thought it was interesting that they obviously did the weapons kid thing, but there was no reference to Aunt Gladys.
I felt like that was such low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. So maybe good they didn't, but...
No, but I think...
actually not good.
Actually, take the low-hanging fruit. I think, especially just because, I don't know, I felt like there's probably some kind of joke in there about her being like an old white lady or something, and the interaction that could have happened there, and I'm just like, what? I don't know. To me, that was obvious, but...
Yes. Well, they do have, not an old white lady bit, but they do have a kind of like white people versus black people comedy moment where our group of like main white characters want to get in to the party, and the like black characters are at the door being like, you can't come in. But they're dressed as the like Jack O'Connell vampire characters from
and the
Sinners.
2 like clan members.
And yes, and they're singing a banjo version of the theme song from the Jeffersons, which is a black American sitcom. The word black just came out of my mouth so weirdly then. Did you hear that?
No.
I sort of like breathed in between the B and the L, and I was like, it was a black family sitcom.
Rachel, it's okay, you can say black.
Thank you for the permission. Thank you for letting me do that.
My favourite thing to do is when I already know who a white person is talking about, but they don't know their name, and they're trying to describe them, they're like, oh, the guy that's wearing they had like the green top on. I was like, oh, there was a few people with the green top on. What else about them?
That's so mean. Do you know how hard we're trying not to do that? Let us be better people.
That's funny. Just, I don't know, that's my favourite, just like personal bit to do.
Okay, there's another Sinners bit. I know you hated this bit. It's a conversation about eating the puss. Not a word I ever thought to say with you.
I like shut my eyes.
And then a scene in which this character who's supposed to be Ray and Brenda's son, so he's Shorty's nephew, we then see him following his uncle's advice and eating. And he's going a sloppy town.
Why would you describe it that way?
Because I'm trying not to describe it in a way that's like crass, but then it somehow sounds worse.
You're making it worse.
But based on his uncle's instruction, what he ends up doing is like rolling her labia into a joint. And this was like a big sight gag where we cut to her nether regions, and yeah, her tender flower is rolled into a joint, and then he sets it on fire, and she screams. And I screamed. I remember screaming at that moment. I've become really accustomed to screaming in the cinema since seeing Obsession. I have like no barrier anymore.
You have no regard for the other people in the audience.
I think I'm adding something. Okay. We're just going to cut to the end.
Yeah, I would also like to say I have no issue with showing female pleasure in movies. If anything, I think that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just found that this scene went on for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I did not like the end result of it.
It was, yeah, it's a nasty visual.
I just found it was too much for me. Because like the scene in Sinners, in the actual Sinners movie, I'm like, oh, I love this. This is great. I think this is really like a wonderful thing actually to have in a film, because it's very rare to center female pleasure in that way.
Oh yeah, good to see men dining.
Thank you. But this just was not my speed. I was like, I feel very just uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was like proper like slapstick, gross out humor. Yeah. But the killer, after a bit more stuff at the party, it's revealed that the killers were Jack, and this other character who is the girlfriend of the nephew, and it's the Mikey Madison character.
Yeah.
From Scream 5. They all like do a bit of fighting. There's a bit where Brenda like pretends she gets stabbed.
Yeah.
Because she's
just like, I want out of here.
Yeah, she's like, there's no way I'm going back in there. Which is sort of classic horror trope. Well, actually not a horror trope, a bit of sort of classic black horror commentary.
Yeah, of just like, you guys can keep on keeping on. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm not following a scary sound.
This is not...
I'm not going into the basement.
Yeah.
But after we've sort of dealt with those two ghost faces, we then get a bunch more ghost face killers, and it's revealed that they are Shorty and Ray and Shaquille O'Neal and Anthony Anderson from Blackish.
Oh, less than 10% battery remaining.
Okay.
Okay.
Shaq and Anthony Anderson had both been in other scary movie films, and they kind of, the group of them do this like monologuing where they're like, the studio tried to replace the brothers, so we're like getting vengeance, but then they turn on each other because the Wayans brothers are like, you guys did your movies after we were kicked out of the franchise, so they kill them as well. They reunite with Brenda and Cindy. Cindy's daughters have both survived, and just as they're all kind of being like we're all good, like we've everything's fine now, it's like just the OG gang back together, the two daughters start making jokes about them being old.
Yeah.
So then they decide to tie them up, set the house on fire, and one of the last lines of the film is, fuck those kids, this is our franchise, which I liked. I felt like that was some legitimate, maybe not like commentary because it's not that deep, but just sort of nice to have the people who made this film series what it is and made it so special reclaim the film itself in its final moments and be like, don't forget it. Yeah. This is our film. So, India. Did you like Scary Movie 6?
I did not like Scary Movie 6. Unfortunately, that was not a movie for me. I found myself very tired, and I was trying to take notes so that we could talk about it in this podcast, and I have like 3 pages worth of notes, and half of them are just me going, not funny, does that make sense because of XYZ? I don't, okay. And I was like, I might as well just write nothing. I'm sure I'll remember certain stuff and how I felt about it, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, and I mean, your perception is more reflective of the critical reception of this film. But as you said, it doesn't mean the film will actually be received broadly by audiences as a bad film.
No, 100%. And I think for a lot of people, stuff like this is funny. I think I just get too like cringed out by certain stuff for this to be my sense of humor. But like,
because you're and you like reject cringe in all of its forms.
No, I do not.
I embrace cringe.
I do not reject cringe.
I love cringe.
You're also gonna have to bleep out my age. I've never put my age out there. So
I will bleep that.
I'm so pro cringe. I would say I'm very cringe in my day-to-day life. I'm unapologetically cringe about the stuff that I really, really love.
Yeah.
You will catch me being very embarrassing about stuff. But
legitimate like cringe comedy.
But cringe comedy?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think this will have like cult comedy status though with the right people. Final thing I want to bring up. Each Scary Movie film directly parodies the I think the fourth one has lots of like Japanese horror in it because there was that big wave of remakes, and I think Scream as the overall framing kind of took away the opportunity to make something that would have felt even more current.
Yeah. 100%. There are movies in there that they didn't reference for one reason or another, but that I just feel like would have been better placed. Like, off pod we had kind of spoken about like Midsummer would have been a really interesting opportunity for Scary Movie, especially with like discussions of race and stuff like that.
Maybe it's like an IP thing, but to think of what this film could have been if it was this main group of characters, 3/4 of which are black, going to like a Swedish death cult where everyone is white. And like I just feel like the kind of calamitous comedy that could have come with that, some of them obviously just immediately being like, nope, I'm out of here. Yeah. And then like just even seeing them trying to like escape the cult versus those that decide to stay because like, oh, you know what, the food's kind of nice and like, you know, whatever. They've offered me drugs. That's fine. Right? It's a very translatable concept for Scary Movie because it's still quite simple, which leaves loads of room to add in all your like other references and sketches. This film probably could have been more elevated, for want of a better word. Yeah. Whereas it does just kind of feel like it's exactly what the first one is, but just now.
Yeah. Or like even the moment in Hereditary where the girl loses her head.
Yeah.
Surely
yeah, no Ari Aster is a crime.
It just, I don't know, for me, I'm like, that's such easy, like, parody fodder, but also you could do something really funny and interesting with it, and I feel like...
Someone could have lost their wig. Comedy. Let me into the writer's room.
But I don't know, I feel like maybe if they had actually just taken a chance on Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
Well, there was the Nosferatu credit sequence.
Oh, really? Was there?
Yeah, did you miss that? You bolted.
But I was tired.
There is a Nosferatu credit sequence. And it was funny. It was funny. Well, actually, you probably wouldn't have thought it was funny because it was like exactly the same as the rest of the film. But yeah, setting the whole film in the world of Nosferatu.
Yeah. Just like the silly voice so and everything. Because I mean, even TikTok, exactly. Even TikTok like took that and like was, you know, obviously making jokes with the voice and stuff.
Bounce on it crazy style.
So yeah, I don't know. For me, Scream is a little bit tired.
Scary Movie.
No, well, no,
Oh,
Scream.
both. Yeah, both. Agreed.
And so, therefore...
Scary Movie is a bit tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say Midsommar and Hereditary are mainstream films now, but maybe because they're like elevated horror, they're maybe not considered to be as mainstream or something. But if they just taken a chance on those movies, they are like...
Yeah.
I feel like it would have produced some moments that I would have laughed at because it's... Those horror movies in themselves have really interesting commentary and things to say about certain stuff as it is.
Okay, final question. In Scary Movie 6, who dies first?
Obviously you.
Because I'm white?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one feels like a sure starter that I get to survive this one.
It feels right. It feels good.
Because I have the option to go, I'm not doing this, I'm going.
That's such a good little Brenda voice. I'm not going back in the house. I can't do it.
Oh, it's ketchup.
She's so good.
She is really,
we
really
didn't
amazing.
even really talk about that. She's such a brilliant actress.
She is, excellent.
I think that's where we'll leave it for today. I am Rachel Lydia B on Instagram, Letterboxd. I'm Girl on Film on YouTube. I'm sure there are other places you find me, but I cannot remember them right now.
And I am India Ysabel, India Ysabel on Instagram, TikTok, Letterboxd, wherever you want to find me.
Nice.
And then the podcast is Who Dies First Pod.
Yes.
On everything.
Yes. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Patreon, which we have started as a support-only platform. We have a £1.50 tier for anyone who would like to send that our way.
Yeah.
We won't be releasing any extra content currently.
Yet.
Yes, it is something that we hope to do in the future. Thank you so much for listening to this. We look forward to yapping with you in the next episode. And that is Who Dies First.